The crowd, of course, has a clear favorite in Francesco, an Italian Jubel player, Fiendsmith Jubel, in fact, who gets to start. Usually you're very afraid of Tenpai telling you to go first, but Francesco, he is playing one of the hardest combo decks ever that can do so much. He's starting off with the pressured planet Raizoth.
Kashtira cards are just everywhere this weekend.
Yep.
Basically, all of the decks are featuring them. Even Jubel nowadays is running the Kashtira package, even including the field spell. This is crazy.
Did you see that coming when the Rice Heart got forbidden?
No, I did absolutely not see that coming. But I mean, we're currently in a format where there's so many great interactions from the hand. Now with also the recent release of Impulse and of course Fubalos. So those cards have always been amazing into-hand interaction, and therefore I understand the resurface of those Kashtira cards. And Francesco is another person relying on them.
You have to respect Unicorn from banishing one extra deck monster. It's very important, and of course it's very useful when you on your turn and of course your opponent's turn.
Yes, indeed, and we see the Fiendsmith cards, of course, also going to be used. Summon out the Lurry by searching and distract, then discarding it, and then immediately bring it back to the field.
Yep, the Jubel deck has an easy way to bridge into the... Or the Fiendsmith archetype has an easy way to bridge into the Jubel archetype by summoning the Aerial Aether, a TCG exclusive with the Fiendsmith sequence, and then sending Samsara de Lotus to the graveyard, and then later on you will have access to that card as it's in your graveyard. Most of the time you will have a Gruesome Grave Skirmer somewhere ready, or you can just go for a Muckracker to summon back the Samsara de Lotus.
Yeah, and Mario is thinking about this Fiendsmith Requiem effect very carefully and using Dominus Impulse on it as a response. So we don't want more Fiendsmith monsters coming out of the deck, especially not, of course, that very important Fiendsmith Engraver. And there is the normal summon of Dark Beckoning Beast next, though. I was about to say, Francesco may have needed the Fiendsmith cards to bridge into his Jubel part of the deck, because so far we haven't seen any of the Jubel cards yet.
That's true. We have used the Requiem up, so that is not really an option anymore. Going into Moon of the Closed Heaven is not going to be in the cards anymore. We know 2 cards from Francesco's hand so far. That is going to be the Dark Beckoning Beast, and of course it is the Kashtira Birth. I can spike something like a Droll and Lockbird, which is also not going to help Francesco to win that game.
Oh, but there is Nightmare Throne! There's the best access you could have for the Jubel package of your deck. So Francesco must be feeling great right now. As of course, yeah, the Requiem didn't resolve, but we do have that super good second normal summon to normal now.
Yep, now we don't care about that anyway at all. Samsara de Lotus is being normal summoned, as you have 2 normal summons here with the Dark Beckoning Beast, and now we're going to see the good old Spirit of Jubel, a card that alone with its, I don't want to say secret effect, is incredible versus the Tenpai strategy. You can summon it from hand, which is not the most useful or craziest effect in most other matchups, but in the battle phase, when your opponent is attacking you, you can special summon it from hand, and it is just there, it's floating. It is such a strong monster against Tenpai.
Yeah, I mean, Mario is of course on his mission of defending a YCS title, as he won the recent remote YCS, but Francesco of course can defend the title for the Jubel players. After Noel and Lille, it might be Francesco here in Bologna, so Jubel might also go back-to-back. And there is the Gruesome Grave Skirmer destroying Jubel, and with that setup, also having the Nightmare Throne on the field, we can just basically produce endless Jubel monsters here throughout this combo.
And of course the Phantom of the Jubel, one of the most interesting and powerful cards in the Jubel deck.
Yeah, and I mean, last format, before the release of Dominus Impulse, always people were trying to play around Nibiru by summoning out Phantom of Jubel early, but we see that Dominus Impulse in the graveyard. Mario is not running that card next to it, so of course you don't need to play around it anymore.
Jubel is incredibly resilient versus those hand traps, and of course it dropped in popularity because Fubalos is such a good card against the deck. This is something it is really not resilient against. However, people have dropped the Fubalos. The combo decks were declining in usage, so did Fubalos. And now you can bring back Jubel and maybe win a YCS with it by going for those full combos. Look at this, there was a Dominus Impulse, but Francesco does not care whatsoever.
Indeed, Francesco just keeps on cooking as a true Italian chef here in the Italian YCS, in YCS Bologna. He wants to take it home for the home crowd, of course. We We'll see whether he will be able to do that. There is now
Another Yama.
another Yama indeed.
And Screamer will activate its effect from the graveyard probably.
Oh, he's already putting it on top of the graveyard, but so far not activated it. Yeah, there we go though. It is going to be summoning out the Spirit of Jubel once more. And did we even use the effect of Nightmare Throne to bring something back or to search something from the deck and then special summon it out yet? I'm not sure actually.
I don't even think that's the case. Francesco is just continuing to run through this. I mean, the access to the Fiendsmith engine was denied, so that is something he will have to work with. However, I mean, he has Shavara in hand now. He has access to the Escape Trap card. I think that he's running Escape in Chamber.
Which is very good against the Tenpai matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to respond to, for example, the activation of a Sanguine Summoning, or rather the effect activation of Sanguine Summoning most of the time. And there's not many decks that can just clear that card off the field, but with Escape of the Unchained, Francesco does have that tool available. So there's Shavara now destroying Spirit of Jubel, and as I was saying, we basically have infinite access to Jubel monsters, and now we are also going to use the second effect of Nightmare Throne as I was anticipating. Look at this, we're trying to summon out so many monsters. We're also using the Yama now. We're trying to summon out 3 monsters at the same time. We only have 2 spots though.
It is so important that Francesco has the information that Nibiru cannot activate for the rest of the game, and he can play freely.
And honestly, probably that it's just not even in the backlist when you're seeing Indominus Impulse. Because why would you include that card if half the time you can't even use it? Now, the Unchained Soul of Rage is being summoned. Another important piece of interruption for your end field. Sanguine Summoning is at 1, so nowadays it is quite likely that you're going to interact with the opposing dragons in the main phase.
Indeed, and look at that. We do even have the ability to exceed summon out Varudras. This is a perfect looking field. We have the Escape of the Unchained set up. We have Phantom of Jubel able to manipulate the effect of Tenpai monsters. We have Varudras able to negate basically anything, and we're not even done yet. Of course, also still the Unchained Soul of Rage waiting, and the Yama ready to bring it back to the field, worst case too. So this is basically as good as it gets, minus the Desiree, but I don't think we need Desiree here.
Yeah, I think we're fine in this situation, unless there would be something like... honestly, Raigeki is not even the worst thing that could happen to you. Of course, there are also better things that could happen to you.
Let's see. Mario is running Raigeki, but does he find it here? Does he have it? Is that going to be another powered turn on the Tenpai deck? We've seen it before. Tenpai is able to break the biggest fields on the planet. Is this going to be one of those fields that we're breaking here?
Actually, I take it back. Raigeki would be very hard. Happy's Feather Duster is going to be activated first, so no escape anymore. And of course, also the follow-up is going to be diminished. If you want to destroy all the monsters, Nightmare Throne is going to be a pain. Speaking of pain, Nightmare Pain also going to be removed from the field.
Yeah, this is a very, very important moment. Does Francesco decide to negate this Happy's Feather Duster? Because if he does, he would be vulnerable to cards like Raigeki and such. So, interesting to see. He was about to put that Nightmare Throne to the grave, but he can't really decide himself. But he is going to negate with the Varudras now. And is there something following this up? We are valuing our Spell and Traps cards here very, very, very much. And there is the Raigeki right next! So goodbye, all monsters, they're on the field now!
Oh, Francesco is
However,
constantly...
Yama is in the graveyard.
Yama is able to bring back the Unchained Soul of Rage. Technically, did we have a Jubel monster there on the field? Yeah, we can also use the effect of Nightmare Throne, I guess.
Yep, and of course, don't forget that you can use the Unchained Soul of Rage to add back the Spirit of Jubel to the hand, so you are a little bit protected in the battle phase at least.
True. Okay, look at that. We do use the effect of Nightmare Throne, we do use the effect of Unchained Soul of Rage, and we're looking for the Yama, and we are probably going to use that Yama as well,
You
right?
have to. At this point, you really, really have to. You need everything on the field. But Mario, he looked at this combo for about 8 minutes, and then he just activated 2 spell cards, and almost everything that Francesco worked so hard for is gone. Usually, fields should be protected better from the classic field breakers, right?
Indeed, but we still haven't activated the Yama. I'm a bit afraid that Francesco is just not going to use the Yama here.
Yeah, I think that he targets the the other Unchained Link with the throne. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the case here that we just want to... Look, we get access to Shavara by adding it back to our hand. Then we can bring out the Shavara eventually, and then Shavara can maybe be destroyed somehow, and that triggers the Yama and the Graveyard. So maybe we're planning ahead here, bringing the Shavara out eventually, and then when that goes down, we may as well then take our chances and get out the Unchained Soul of Rage eventually. So I feel like Francesco is planning ahead here pretty far.
I mean, obviously, he has a very good strategy for being in the top 4 of a YCS, and we should not underestimate his thought.
Clearly he's having played a few 10-pie matchups this weekend, I can tell you that.
Okay, 3 cards left on hand. Terraforming activated. That's one of the most impactful ones he could have here.
And we're going to get the strongest field spell for dragons ever. I think even more powerful than Dragon's Ravine, Sangan Summoning, if that is possible. However, this is the one card. Okay, Shavara is being chained to the Terraforming, onto the Spirit of Yubel, and I think
like it.
that I know. The thing is that Sangan Summoning loses to very few cards. Even Drone Lockbat isn't the worst for this card. However, if a Drone Lockbat is activated after the resolve of a Terraforming, this is going to cut off the Sangan Summoning Surge later on. This is tough for Mario.
That is true. He will still be able to activate the Sangan Summoning using its protection ability, but it is not able to surge with it anymore. So Mario, does he already have a 10-pie monster in hand, or was he relying on that Sangan Summoning Surge? He looks not particularly happy here, Mario. So that Droll Lockbird might be the icing on the cake that Francesco needed to pull this one through, to get done with this game number 1 in his favor.
Francesco is just chilling, has built up a nice defense for himself, that the escape is still live. John Lockbird has resolved. 2 cards left unknown for Mario and SC. Oh wow, another card that has problems facing the Droll and Lockbird.
We're picking up our cards! Francesco wins game number 1! And the home crowd here in Italy is cheering him on! 1-0 for Jubel and Francesco. And yeah, I mean, he was sent first there. And when you send a Jubel player first, he's going to give you that there. That is very tough to overcome.
That's why it's very risky playing 10-pie to let your opponent go first, because sometimes like this, they can set up a very good field and be very difficult for you to break through it.
Impossible almost when we saw it there. Mario was trying very hard. He had 2 of the most impactful field-breaking cards that there are. Happy's Feather Duster followed by Raigeki. Yes, exactly. Basically the duo also that won the European Championship this year. But it was nothing still. He couldn't pull through. So maybe the matchup is still just not that easy for the deck.
Yep, it shouldn't be in this matchup. The field is so resilient. You're summoning back all of those monsters immediately. Spirit of Yubel, a really nice backup as well. But the icing on the cake was the Drone Lockbird, actually. Yep. Usually not the strongest card against 10-pie, but when you have to activate Terraforming and you get rolled, this never feels good. Terraforming or something like an Upstart Goblin are the worst cards to play into Drone Lockbird.
That is true. Mike, I'm putting you on the spot. Game number 2 now. You play against Jubel as a 10-pie player. Do you still make the decision to go second, or do you now have to take initiative and go first against it?
I will go still second.
You will still go second,
yes,
all right.
I have a plan, so I think, of course, Mario is already being familiar with the matchup, and probably he has the right answers to his side for the matchup.
Okay. Honestly, I will counter your take. I think he will go first here, and honestly, I think we may see him siding in the Kogimero Drago. And we've seen Kogimero Drago earlier in the day, also from a 10-pie player, where it was against a different deck though. There it was against Chimera, which then found ways to summon out wind monsters and so on and so forth. But guess what? Jubel, it's basically like he has no way without playing without the dark monsters and the light monsters. So if you just get out the Kogimero Drago, it's kinda a deal sealer for me.
Yubel is the incarnation, the Phantom of Darkness, in fact.
Yeah.
And that is going to be very hard against the Kogimero Drago. There are multiple ways to get to it. You can just summon 2 dragons, go into the Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, tribute that one away to bounce a card, and then summon out the Drago that is going to have 0 attack, which is actually, and 0 defense, not the worst against Yubel, because this is just not even going to be a crash. That's not how the game works with that.
They don't even have monsters with attack points, basically. I think in the main deck, Shavara might just be the only one that they can bring in there that actually can attack, and even that one is going to be hard to summon out.
Yep, actually that's a fire one.
Yeah. Oh, okay, true. That one you can summon. So maybe Shavara is the one you need in that situation.
Shavara is the goo. the solution to all the problems. Hard draw Shavara.
Possibly, yeah. Normally you don't even really want to draw that one because you are supposed to search it with Yama, but here in that specific situation that might happen. But I mean, that's of course a hypothetical situation that I'm creating in my head. Is you might also very well be wrong. Tenpai is the deck to go second, so maybe he's just sticking to the game plan here in that spot, still going second once more. Going to be interesting to see, because that, of course, will also influence the siding process here of Francesco, because what is Francesco expecting from his opponent? Does he think he's going to start? Does he think he's going to send him first? He doesn't know, but he has to make a decision here while side-decking what he thinks is the most likeliest.
Yeah.
So, Leo, we have two takes here. What are you thinking?
I'm actually going with going second as well, because I don't think that it was the field that broke the game for Tenpai. It was the Droll and Lockbird on top, because the hand that you had was heavily playing into Droll and Lockbird, and that was the main issue there with that field, and that is something that usually doesn't even happen to Tenpai. So I think that he's going to still be content with the strategy of going second. But you can see it as well. The players are ready. We have cut the decks of our opponent. Let's go back to the table to game 2.
Respectable. I'm happy for you two guys that you have found your love again, agreeing on your takes. But we are going to see now in action Mario or Francesco, and Mario is the one deciding who goes first.
Oh, wow. Sebastian, you definitely called it. By the way, Dora, I just put this up there because it was Sangen summoning and Dora in hand for Mario after the Drone Lockbird resolve, so there was really not too much that he could have done there.
Yeah, another card that's not too great into the Drone Lockbird, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. He can add either Chundra or Genroku most of the times and go to plays like Chundra to special summon itself, or Genroku, of course, the effects like Poplar to special summon from the hand when it is added to the hand. And it can actually activate its effect either if he's added from the graveyard for an effect like Magnamut.
Oh, that is also very, very strong. Who would have thought that Tenpai needed a Poplar-ish card? Genroku came to be the savior. Genroku is such a powerful card.
I mean, Magnamut, your opponent, and then at the end, adding Genroku and special summon, it's very strong.
Absolutely. Let's for a quick moment bring it back to us, because I think there's currently some more talking with the judges going on regarding the side-taking process. So we have some more time to analyze the matchup and to analyze the situation overall. And I mean, you were quite... Yeah, you were showing harmony regarding the going second decision. I mean, of course, Cyclone Brothers, indeed. Is there? You have some incredible news for you. I think I saw some Cosmic Cyclones in the deck of Mario D'Amico, so he's another Cosmic Brother for you.
We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The card is just absolutely insane. I mean, it's like Mystic Space Typhoon, but you pay 1,000 life points.
And I mean, going first or going second against Jubel, certainly Cosmic Cyclone is a good card. So I think that's also potentially a card, if he decides to go first, that's good that he could bring in there alongside cards like Corcamero, Drago, and so on and so forth. So I could absolutely see it happening, but still, it's their decision. They're going to make it up. Have we even mentioned who's out there on the other table? Because, of course, you have seen what the top 8 players were that have made it into those 4 remaining matches. But then you saw who made it in the top 8 featured match. So Mathieu Bricard, of course, one of the other top 4 players, but he's facing off on the outer tables against a Memento player. We still have my tournament pick going strong. Just saying, ladies and gentlemen, Memento's still up in the running.
That is true, and he just beat Julio Valls in the last match. I was standing next to them. There was a Perulia, so Canahawk was being set, followed up by 2 D Fissures, Dimensional Fissure, and then Julio did not have any place after that, so it was a good beatdown game.
It was indeed, and realistically, still, you got to say, even though Julio lost there in top 8, massive performance by the Ritual Beast deck overall. Yeah, Julio himself, of course, crazy run once more, but the Ritual Beast deck, I mean... 6 of them in top 64.
That's 10%. And how many percent attended? 1?
Yeah. If even, like, definitely it wasn't even on the names, on the deck names mentioned there.
I mean, they ran 2 of the most powerful monsters of all time, Colossus and Protoss. Both of them are
actually, Protoss is one of your favorite cards of all time, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a controversial one to have, to be honest. But I mean, I gotta respect it. Do you have a story with Protoss? Why is it your favorite card, Mag?
I mean, I used to play in the social format,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed Protoss, either going first or second, because, of course, first was very good against the decks that run in Forcer.
True,
And
true.
also going second to break up field that had a very strong board and can play with, with the quick play spell Circle and add him and just be your last resource.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I do absolutely understand it. It's a very, very impactful card. And I mean, is there any other decks at the moment that are running Protoss next to the Ritual Beast deck? I don't really think so.
Sorcerer.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, sure. Absolutely, absolutely. And, but is there anything else? Sword Soul? Not super popular at the moment. I saw that Joshua Schmidt played against Sword Soul in round 2, but go ahead.
I mean, basically, any deck could run Protoss right now, right? Because you go into Infernal Flame Banshee and you search for Nemesis Flag. You just need to be able to banish some cards at some point so you can summon the Nemesis Flag and get the Protoss out. So it is a very, very cheap way to cheat out Protoss, basically.
And with a 4-card combo in Young Zinx, probably.
Yeah.
Probably you are
But
right.
Young always needs a 4-card combo. What was the name of the little guy that you normally summon that you discard 2 cards to activate the effect?
Which one was it? You're making that one up, I feel like.
No. It was the dark one, right? It was Jiaotu.
Ah, Jiaoto. Oh, yeah, he's my favorite one. I
of
just
course,
completely forgot about his name.
Sure. It's a
Actually,
favorite,
though,
of course.
we have some heartbreaking news for me personally, because in the other top 4 match, Memento lost. That's, of course, great news for the French community, because Mathieu Bricard is on to the finals with Magical Musketeers of all decks.
So I'm going to have to give Tom Payne massive props here, because we were talking backstage and he just went to me and was like, this Kashtira Fiendsmith deck, why don't you just substitute some Lacrima with Musketeer cards and you play the Gustav Max in the extra deck? Or the Max in the extra deck.
Yeah, the Gustav Max is funny. Yeah, just throw the Gustav Max in.
Different card. You just get free stuff, right? It surely is better. And I was like, you're Tom. Tom, stop it.
Yeah, that's the usual Tom take, but this one was so good, actually.
And then Mathieu Bricard just came in, beat Puck with his own deck, but with the Musketeers in there, and yeah.
Would you expect Magical Musketeer to be in the final?
Of course.
Yeah, sure. I said that.
It's Basti's favorite deck again, right?
And to be honest, it was one of the original going second decks, right?
Yeah, that is true. Magical Musketeers they had some shining moments in the format with the Thunder Dragon, Orcus, Sky Striker, and Salamangreat.
Really? I completely blanked that out.
Yeah, it was not the best deck in the format.
Okay.
There were 4 decks that were much better, but it came out during that time, and there were some nice approaches to it. And I think that it was Joshua Osters who topped a little bit.
Oh, I think I remember that now.
Yeah,
Yep. I have that memory now again. You're right, true. I mean, it's a very fun and unique deck, and I'm excited to see it again in the feature match of the finals, of course. So he might make a name for himself with that, because Mathieu Bricard, so far, of course, he already has that national championship title. That was a huge one over there in France, because they usually have like 2,000 plus players, and he did it with that crazy 60-card Dragon Link deck, and he may just do it again with another crazy version of the Fiendsmith Kashtira. But then also the Magical Musketeer cards in there.
And with an amazing side deck back in the day. He had 3 Thrust and all the targets. It was
He's
so
just a
unique.
madman. He's a madman.
And it just works for him. Like, no matter how inconsistent his deck might be, Mathieu doesn't brick hard.
Yeah. Oh my, I hope someone in chat actually laughed. If you laughed right now, please say ha 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 in
If
chat.
one person laughed, I'm fine. That was all for you.
Just for you. No, I mean, sometimes you can be funny. I'll give you that. Once in a blue moon. But we actually are looking at Moon of the Closed Heaven here, possibly for this match coming up, for this game coming up.
What a segue.
What a segment, right? So we are once more ready. So I think the judge call is over, and therefore, no more time to be wasted. Back to the table. Let's go.
Perfect. Basti, actually, when you said heartbreaking news, I thought that we had a game loss here or something. So I'm very, very happy that it was just about the other match. So we get to see even more of this and to see what Mario is going to do going first.
Who was right about all that, huh? We do go first here with the 10-fight dragon strategy. Normal summoning the Dora. I told you I have some experience with that deck. So no surprise to me, but still maybe a surprise to Francesco here. Searching out again Roku here off of Dora.
So here he will probably go for Pydra to add Kaimen.
Sounds about right.
Oh, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring though on the Gon Roku. Do we have Way 610 from there? Chandra would be the easiest one. Pydra, Sung and Kaimu would probably also do.
I think that Francesco even has 2 ashes in hand. Otherwise, it would be incredibly risky, to be honest. Because if you're at this point ashing and your opponent still manages to get a seal on the field, Drago is about to hit the field on the opposing turn, or on your turn rather. So if you have 2 ashes, this is a very safe way to immediately cut off your opponent from resources. And if worse comes to worst, you still can prevent the Drago to come out.
Now the effect of Dora, and there is a Chandra, but it goes to the graveyard and not to the hand, so that's going to be crucial. Leo, that is what I call the secret effect of Dora.
Yeah, that is true. I had to read that up just now, so people in chat, if you want to read it too, here it is.
There it is. So Mario does have another Chandra in his hand though, and that is crazy good news to him, because that enables him playing the game to a further degree as we link off the Chandra and the Dora now most likely into that seals.
I mean, thank goodness we had the Ben Kreuzkamp 10-pied combo tutorial with you, Sebastian, so that Mario actually knows what to do in this situation.
Exactly. You all should watch that back from YCS Liam not too long ago. 2 sad cards over to Francesco. Not gonna lie, the combo that Mario performed was about a 10th as long as the one that Francesco performed for game number 1. Is it still going to be impactful enough, is the question here.
However, this is the classic Dragon board field.
Yeah.
Bestial control.
Pass. And terraforming to start things off here for Francesco, which is a beautiful start. And look at that, we're not even getting the Nightmare from, we're valuing the Kashtira cards more. And now that I think about it, Kashtira cards against that Quarkimero Drago are also incredibly good. Oh, Leo, is it time for your most favorite card? Is there a Cosmic Cyclone maybe for this? There must be, right? You gotta prevent Cosmic Cyclone for the President Planet Race of saying no, you're not going to get those important Kashtira monsters.
Cosmic Cyclone resolves, banish the Race of, and now Francesco has to see where he goes with this. And look at this hand, because I think that I spotted the second Ash Blossom. Can Francesco play through this? Because if he didn't have a play to start with, he wouldn't have searched the Rage Off, but would have gone for the Nightmare Throne. So I think there has to be more coming here for Francesco.
Let's see. Is he going to find something? Interestingly enough, he could technically also just give it over, and then the Seals would have nothing to put to the hand. Oh, a Judgment! Wow, that is a combination of cards Leonard Koenig here in the booth loves to see. First of all, paying 1,000 for Cosmic Cyclone, then saying no for the prize then of a discounted 3,500. Negating the summon, passing it over. But still, the seal stays on the field. He wasn't able to activate the effect.
And I think that Mario has no cards to play with in his hand.
Yeah, that's a possibility for sure.
And he's only at 3,500 life points. I think if I see this correctly, there's another Cosmic Cyclone and an Ash Blossom, so there is no pressure whatsoever for Mario, and Seals only works on your opponent's turn. Setting a card face down, and Francesco is like, I couldn't normal summon the Beckoning Beast last turn, but maybe I could try to normal summon something now. Has another spell card in hand, has multiple monsters there. Francesco is smelling a big W, trying to advance to the finals in his own home country. What is he having here? Normal summon Lacrima. That is a card that has had huge impact in this tournament so far.
It definitely did have. And funnily enough, Mario D'Amico he made his own fortune there, right? Because he activated the effect of Dora and he sent that Chandra to the graveyard from the top of his deck, which he would have otherwise just drawn as a turn card, which would have been very worth picking up there, because that would have been the perfect card to just immediately probably seal the deal. But no, he is now in this awkward situation where he just had to go through a whole turn without attacking at all.
Now Francesco is checking out how far he can go until the Seals interruption is about to happen. There's still a set card. Mario is checking everything. Ash Blossom onto the Requiem.
In hand, used on the Requiem.
Not the worst thing in the world, though. We have sent the Engraver already. There's Requiem and Lacrima, the Crimson Tears in the graveyard, so Engraver is going to be able to summon itself back out. And then what? Then you can check. If it forces out the Seals, bouncing an Engraver doesn't feel too good, because you can just add the track from the deck to the hand.
Yeah,
you
but
can summon the Lyrian.
He needs to do it because he needs to find engine.
Yeah. And actually, he also needs to find Quarkimero Drago, otherwise you can't do anything about this. So
yeah, and I mean, you gotta just use the seals here, because otherwise they're just going to use the effect of Engraver, and then
Oh,
Engraver...
no.
Cosmic Cyclone on the Requiem.
Oh, yeah.
Man, we're paying life points over life points. 2,500 remaining. A singular Hieratic Seals of the Heavenly Sphere sitting there, staring down at Engraver. Is it going to be enough? I think Francesco trying to aim for the battle phase. Now, of course, we gotta activate the effect. And there is the Ash Blossom denying the special summon, so 0 cards left for Mario D'Amico, and he is faced with a Nightmare Throne after that one as well. So Francesco's off to the races here with his Jubel deck.
Bologna is going crazy right now. Italian combos all the way. Spirit of Yubel is being destroyed. Yubel is special summoned out. Can Francesco put up a big field? I think he should have still tracked in deck. Putting Engraver back to the hand is everything but optimal. Going to search for the tracked, and now you can just freely go for whatever you want in this.
At this point, even just Desiree pass, it's enough.
He has the Luri in hand already, discarding the Luri. There is nothing that Mario can do. There is no resources in the graveyard. There is no resources in the hand or on the field. He's solely relying on the top deck and knowing that there is no battle phase in this turn anymore. But Francesco just keeps going. He knows that it is his turn to set up all the interruptions that he wants, and he's starting with the sequence.
Sequence going to set up a Desiree here most likely. He could also just go for Aerial Eater, but I don't even know whether that's necessary here at the moment.
It is.
It is apparently very necessary. Oh no, that's just the Phantom. Okay, that was just a regular Contact Fusion summon. We didn't even activate the sequence yet. Absolutely fair enough, I agree. And honestly, that Phantom alone already looks quite scary.
Yeah, this looks like it is very tough to beat for Mario right here. But yeah, sequence goes off, and now we're going to go into the Aerial Eater. Can only use 2 materials for a fusion summon here. Now Aerial Eater is going to be able to send the Samsara, the Lotus, or a Squirma, or whatever you want basically. And then you still have a card in hand to discard for a possible Muckracker play.
That is absolutely correct. Which one is it going to be? Which one does he want in the graveyard here? It is the Squirmer, as you were suspecting.
To be fair, I was not suspecting anything. I was just saying everything is a single option that was in the deck, basically. But yes, of course, we have Spirit of Yubel already in the graveyard because we destroyed it with Nightmare's Throne. So you can just special summon it from the graveyard and activate the Nightmare Pain, destroy the Spirit of Yubel. This is so good.
I like that Mario doesn't give up yet, though.
Yeah.
This is a true champion. I really like it.
And as long as there's cards to be drawn, and it is safe to say that he gets another draw phase, there is no reason to give up just yet, because, I mean, what if Francesco just commits all of his resources into this field that he's creating, and then Mario just draws into a Raigeki, and then all of a sudden we're playing a whole different of a game again?
Yeah, that is what Francesco has to be wary of. That I wanted to say this earlier as well. You, at this point, have to really be cautious that you don't find a single lose condition. So the field that you're building up here has to be completely bulletproof.
Yep, and I think having Yama in the graveyard against those potential cards seems quite nice. Of course, it's not even very likely that Mario has cards like Raigeki in his main deck because he chose to go first. Still, there is a slight chance as he's including those cards in his list somewhere. So maybe with siding patterns, he still ends up having them in their main deck. So
the heart of
it's gotta be interesting to see. Yeah. True, for good measure, right? Just have that Raigeki in the main deck because it just brings me luck.
And it was beautiful with the sliver on it. I didn't know. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, the artwork. It was the new artwork. True, true.
So we're going to summon out the Muckracker. Let's see what we are discarding here. Francesco is just moments away, but I like that he's not too fast with anything. He knows he has time, 22 minutes left on the clock. This looks like it is about to be his game, but he's just being calm. He does what he does best, what he knows best. He's just playing Jubel combos here.
Yep, he is definitely quite happy about performing those combos here at the moment.
Ariel can special summon itself from the graveyard, which is very interesting too.
Yeah, is it going to be the second Jubilee of the Jubel deck winning YCSs here in Europe? We already had the Jubel deck winning in Lille pretty much recently.
Put your Fuvalos back into the main deck.
Yep, apparently that might be a good thing to do against this deck. because it still keeps on comboing, and it doesn't stop comboing whatsoever. Is the trap card still in the main deck here is going to be an interesting question. I think against Tempa you probably just leave it in there because you don't necessarily know whether to go first or second. So, yep, it is in there, activating it, escape. And that field, whatever top deck is coming there from Mario, is going to be incredibly hard to overcome.
Yep. What can you even draw? You can just draw the Raigeki, basically. If you find your way into a 10-pie monster, how is that going to help you at any point of the game here? Francesco, it almost looks like he's going to stop here. Sends the Muckracker away.
Oh yeah, true. We're using the effect of Jubel. Yeah, this is still on the field.
Means that Samsara the Lotus can special summon itself from the graveyard. No, it's not even in the graveyard. I think that's the last card.
And there we have it! Francesco Gagliolo is in the finals of YCS Bologna, and the crowd is loving it. We have an Italian player joining us for the finals, which is fantastic news.
Yeah, Jubel is so incredibly strong, and if the decks are not prepared with 27 hand traps and 5 of them have to be at least Molch armies, make it 6, then it's going to be really, really tough to overcome that deck. What a meta call by Francesco, knowing that these hand trap, these interactions are shifting, the Bestials are leaving the meta as well, kind of. It is very, very tough to overcome Jubel here. He's on a crazy run.
Yeah, so the Fiend decks are apparently the talk of the town here, the talk of Bologna, because it is going to be the Magical Musketeer deck, clearly a Fiend deck in general, against the Jubel deck for the finals. So that's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, we all had like wild predictions of what's going to make it, but none of us actually went with Jubel or with the Magical Musketeer deck, right?
I said the Magical Musketeer for sure. Yeah, I was pretty sure about
you're now predicting it? Okay, fair enough.
I mean, kind of you said it earlier in the tournament to me. You said, I hope they play Fiend this weekend. And they actually do. So this is a very, very strong prediction from Sebastian here. No, in all seriousness, Jubel in the finals is maybe a little bit surprising. At max, we all know how crazy the deck can get if it runs through. It is a very much of a tournament deck, you know, that it might be a meta call from time to time. But the really surprising thing this tournament is Kashtira Fiendsmith. Those decks, so many hand traps, an incredible amount of interruption on your opponent's turn. You can go second easily. You can go first as well. We have seen that too. The deck is incredibly flexible, and just the sheer utility and the playstyle, I adore it.
Yeah, and I mean, honorable member of the Kashtira Fiendsmith crew is Mathieu Ricard, because he is playing, of course, the Kashtira cards, even though it's only in the side deck, and then, of course, all the Fiendsmith engine. So definitely got to give it to them that those calls with the Fiendsmith, I want to say reinterpreted, because like usually the Fiendsmith cards, as we saw it here, were used for big combos. They were setting up big fields. But we went back a little bit, and we're kind of using it more as a grindy deck, having the chance to go more turns, going turn after turn after turn. I've heard people saying it is the walking Lacrima at this point, because Lacrima just keeps on going to the field, and back into the deck, back to the field. And yeah, maybe that's the topic of the weekend, the walking Lacrima.
You had a very good call, though, for Tempai to go first for side deck. I wouldn't expect that. And it was actually a very nice call.
Yeah,
I mean, he should have gone second.
Yeah, actually, he lost the game. I don't know how good it went for him, but I think it's a good call. Yeah.
For Mario choosing to go first, he has to study a lot, so I truly trust him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a YCS champion, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing by chance.
That is absolutely true. Still, wasn't enough for Mario. Still, we gotta give it to him.
Top 4.
Crazy runs lately by him. He just doesn't stop. Does he even know bubbling a tournament? Does he even know not topping a tournament? Does he even know going all the way into top 4? I have no idea. He doesn't know this tournament, though, how to get into the finals, because his opponent, Francesco Gagliolo, instead, is one of our 2 finalists. So let's hear it from him and Marcello over at the analysis desk.
Thank you, Basti, and indeed I am here with the winner and your first finalist of YCS Bologna 2024. Crowd, let's give it up for Francesco! Great hearing the support, and congrats on an amazing final. Obviously, you got the home crowd advantage, and we are all glad that, you know, at least an Italian player could make it to the finals. How do you feel?
I feel great. I don't know words for that, but I think it could be in the better way in the finals. but
Yeah.
I still very, very happy.
Absolutely, dream come true, but job's not done. One more
Not yet.
match, and yeah, you will be facing off against Mathieu, which we have seen previously. He won his top 4 match, so it's gonna be an interesting one for sure. Many players and many people, you know, didn't think that Jubel, after winning Lille, could make it. So why do you like the deck?
I like that because it's very, very strong. Your engine is the best of the game for me, and there is the Tronus.
Yes.
The Tron is
It's absolutely insane. and
insane.
It seems it's also in your hand often, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
But you have made your adjustment to the deck. You played some Kashtira cards as well.
Yes.
So how did you tech your deck? Yeah.
Kashtira cards was incredible. Makes you feel better on the end traps and very good interruption. Seer extra with Unicorn is unbelievable, and Bird also is a good interruption. Cards are very, 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 very good.
Yeah, they worked out with your deck, although it's not really a popular choice, but you make it work. So I think we can go through some of the emotions and some of the main moments that your top 4 had to offer. So game 1, you start, you're up against Tempai, so let's bring the first clip. Your opponent lets you go first, but then you set up an incredible field. You see the Feather Duster, what are you thinking?
I was scary about Feather Duster because my spell traps against Tempai is very good. Like the Throne and the Nightmare Pain is key cards. And at the end I want to negate with Varudras instead of Raigeki, because for Raigeki I can continue to play like succeed, but with Feather Duster I have the match on my end.
Yeah, absolutely, because just a few moments afterwards, it's when this Raigeki was activated, but I think you had a solid backup plan. Yeah, you expected it, right?
It was expected, yes, because I know it could be Raigeki or Dark Hole, but my monsters can float all, but without the Throne and without the Pain, it's very difficult to win against Empire.
Exactly, and that's when maybe there seemed like there was some hope for your opponent, but then the next moment is when he activates this terraforming, and however you had something more hiding in your hand, right?
Oh yes, the draw lock.
Yes.
The play before that is because I have the draw lock bird in my hand, because the spirit could make all the work for me.
Yeah, and the draw and lock really sealed what was a game 1, and you took the lead, which I gotta say it's always a great feeling. But then things changed a little bit, and as we can see from the next clip, which is the start of game 2, your opponent, maybe surprisingly, went first. Did you expect this?
I could expect this because Kokimiru Drago is very, very good against my deck, but not all players playing Tempai makes going first against me, and I was very afraid of the. In fact, my sec deck was very, very bad for that matchup.
Okay.
But Tuash in my end was very, very good, and.
Yeah,
that's all.
You managed through that opening really well, and in the end, which is pretty much the final clue moment that I want to show, is where you left your opponent with almost no cards. You dropped the Ash on the last card that they were holding, and finally your friend, Throne.
Throne was there for my first hand, but I wait to check out of the seal to resolve that and win.
Yeah, you were very patient with it, so congratulations again. You played absolutely well. So again, one last time, we want to give it a huge congratulations to Francesco for making it to the finals. Soon enough, you will have to face your first YCS final, so we'll wish you best of luck with that. So don't go anywhere, stay tuned, and now let's give it back to Ed.